Hello everyone, I am Adolfo from Alianza Inglesa, and today we're looking at the second part of the explanation on how to write the graph report, this time focusing on the first two paragraphs called the paraphrasing and the overview. So, since we will continue analyzing the line graph that we checked in the part 1 of this series of videos, please be sure that you have checked that first part so you will know how we identified the trends and the groups of data that we will be using for the next paragraphs. Now that we have identified the essential trends, the essential information from the graph, the highest, the lowest points, and how all of that information is compared between the countries, we can start writing our graph report. The first thing we should be writing is the paraphrasing of the statement. Of course, the original statement says what the graph shows, so we simply have to use this statement and change some words with synonyms or similar expressions to start the graph report with the information that is presented. So in here we can take certain phrases and paraphrase them. The first one says the graph below. We're not going to say below in the paraphrasing. We're going to be a little bit more specific here. Instead of saying just the graph, we're going to say the type of graph that it is, which is a line graph. So we're going to start the paraphrasing of the statement by saying the line graph. Now we have the action that indicates that there is some visual information presented, which is the word shows. The paraphrasing we can use in here is the verb depicts. So we have the line graph depicts. And now let's see the rest of the information that we could paraphrase. So we have average carbon dioxide emissions per person. Carbon dioxide is a chemical concept, so there is not much paraphrasing that we can think of, but we can change the order of certain words. For this example, we can say the average emissions of CO2, so we have changed the order of a few words, per individual. In here we have paraphrased the word person. Then we have the information of the countries where the information is from, which are the United Kingdom, Sweden, Italy, and Portugal. The statement is being specific here. So what we could do is to be a little bit more general about the information by saying in 4 European countries. We're not being so general to say in different countries, but we're specifying that there are 4 European countries considered. And finally, regarding the time frame of the information, instead of saying between 1967 and 2007, we could say that these data happened during a 40-year period ending in 2007. So, something very important here. We are keeping the same information that in this original statement. We should not omit essential information from it, and also we should not say something that is not mentioned in the statement. We have to keep it as consistent as possible. After we have written the paraphrasing of the statement, there should be an overview. An overview refers to a sentence that gives a general observation of what the graph is showing. And this one normally doesn't include any specific numbers or percentages. It's just a general view of the graph. Now, this is an absolutely essential part of the graph. If we don't include it, our score will be significantly lower, so we should always include an overview. Now, this overview normally is introduced by expressions such as overall or at first glance, which indicate that we're going to describe an overview. And we could also use the passive voice to introduce what the graph is showing in general. For example, overall, it can be seen from the graph, or at first glance, it is noticeable from the graph that. Now, this is an absolutely essential part, so we should always introduce an overview after the paraphrasing of the statement. Now, how do we write an overview? Where should I get the information from? Well, we could take the groups of information we made before, take that information, and give a general idea of what the graph is showing. We could take that and we could also connect the major features that we discovered in the two groups and combine them using a complex sentence. So let's see here. we have written again our statement, our paraphrasing of the statement, and let's see how we can put the information of the overview together. So overall, it can be seen from the graph that the UK and Sweden, these are the members of the first group of information, the UK and Sweden emitted the highest amount of CO2 with a subsequent drop in these levels over the years. We are saying, in general, what happens with the first group of data. And we can connect that to make a contrast with what happens in the data of the second group, saying while Italy and Portugal's emissions constantly increased after having the lowest numbers at the beginning of the period. So we are making a very general observation of the information in the graph, but we are still not introducing any figures, any specific numbers, or any changes happening over time. This is a good example of an overview presenting the general information of the graph. Okay, so the first two paragraphs of our graph report are ready and put together, the paraphrasing and the overview. We're halfway there. Now the only thing missing is our body paragraphs, which will be the topic of the third part of this series of videos about the graphs. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to do so you won't miss our next part, and you will find how to write the body paragraphs, and you will have completed how to create the graph report. If you found this video useful, don't forget to give us a like. Remember to follow us on our social media. All of the links are available in the description box below. And stay tuned for the final part, where we will discuss the body paragraphs of the graphs. This was Adolfo. I'll see you in the next one.